What's happening, guys? It is the next day. I took it to work this morning. We do have all of the power back that we had lost before. It felt like it was being choked off. The revs couldn't go past 2,000 RPM, and if it downshifted, it wouldn't go above 4,000 RPM. Just falling on its face repeatedly. So another thing was the overheating problem. It solved part of it while it was driving, but now coming up to a stoplight or something, you'll get to the stoplight, you'll sit there for probably 4 to 5 seconds, and the temperature gauge will start to creep up. Now that is a tall tale sign of a failing fan clutch. Here's the one I bought. I got it from Napa. This was actually their cheaper one. I don't really know if it is super good quality or not, but it says Nissan Pump Manufacturing Co. So it might be pretty legit. I don't know. I was looking for a Hayden, but they did not have Haydens in stock, but it is made in JA Pan. It says it right there, and if we crack this bad boy open, oh come on. Crack this bad boy open here. There we go. I already took the bubble wrap off of it. But take it out, flip it over. It even says Japan right there. Nothing to it, so might go ahead and start tearing this apart. First, you're going to go ahead and grab an impact with a 10mm socket in it. Take the two top bolts out, pull the top plastic shroud off. There's two 10mm in here for the intake. Pop those out. Then the crankcase ventilation tube that goes to the intake, going to go ahead and pop that off as well. Get a flathead screwdriver, pop the hose clamps off on your mass airflow and the throttle body. Give it a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. It's going to fight you a little bit sometimes, so have patience. Go ahead and wiggle it off there without tearing the boots. Next, we're going to get the 10mm, take the two top bolts out of the top of the radiator fan shroud. There is also some hoses and electrical connections here on this side. Got to get them all out of the way so we can move the fan shroud around a little bit. The electrical connector for the AC fan is going to fight me here a little bit, but I make short work of it. This is where our long needle nose pliers come into hand. I noticed a little bit of corrosion in that connector. I'm going to have to address that later on. Go ahead and get your 10mm ratcheting wrench. If you guys don't have ratcheting wrenches, I would definitely recommend adding those to your toolkit. They are worth their weight in gold. So there's a 3/8 spot in the serpentine belt tensioner, so you can put a ratchet in there. So I'm going to use it to relieve tension off the serpentine belt, rotate the fan into position so I can get the ratcheting wrench on the nuts that retain the fan to the pulley, and then I'll reverse the ratchet, hold tension on it in order to go ahead and back those nuts off. And I do that 4 times. There's 4 nuts that hold the fan on, so I do that exact same procedure 4 different times in order to get all 4 out. So here I am trying to figure out how I'm going to get it out of there, and I figured out it's easier from the bottom. So I just kind of push the shroud back, and I'm able to wiggle, 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 wiggle it out of there. Depending on the vehicle, maybe easier from the top, maybe easier from the bottom. Just be careful not to bash it into the radiator. There, we got it out. So see this piece right here? This was already previously broken out of my fan shroud, and here I'll show you. So I don't know if you guys can get a good look at this, but this is the room that I had to work with, and it was actually super easy. The bottom of the shroud, let's see what you guys can see and what you can't. Okay, so see this little pin right here? This little pin? So those just clip in to these little holes right here. See that hole? How it lines up with that? They just clip in there. You just push it up and back, push it up and back towards the engine. And there's one right there, which is, you know, the broken piece of plastic that we got here. But yeah, just push it up and back, and there you go. You got access to all of it. You can see exactly where the fan was mounted right there on that pulley. Yeah, nothing to it, guys. So now we got to separate the fan blade from the old clutch and put the fan blade on the new one. So here we go. So once again, these all appear to be 10 mils, and it even says front. It's etched into it. See how it says front right there and right there. So there's not really any way you can screw this up. If you guys don't have an impact, you really need to go invest in one. Yeah, they're worth their weight in gold. So you just take it off of there, comes right off, put it on the new one. No biggie at all. Put your little bolts back in. That. Nothing to it, guys. Look at that. Ready for reinstall. So watch this. Dude, that's much harder than the old one. The old one was so easy to turn. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and throw it in. So now that we're back up on top, we're going to do the reverse. We're just going to put our nuts back on as best we can. Well, the one staring at me is the studded one that came out. So let's go ahead and put that one in first, I guess. Oh! Okay, so we can put our hoses all back in, clip those on like that and like that. What else? I think that's it, guys. See, changing a fan out is not that hard. Pretty much anybody can do this job. I mean, as long as you got the tools, I suppose. But that's with any job. Snug that down. You don't want to over tighten it because it's into plastic. So you just kind of snug it. Done. Okay. I cleaned out the mass airflow the other day. The throttle body's still clean from whenever we did the timing job. So that's good. So this truck has one mechanical fan and one electric fan. The reasoning for that is mechanical fan is just general cooling, and usually the secondary is the electric one. It's usually if you have the air conditioning on, to where you'll have adequate airflow at all times. I've actually never even checked to see if this thing works, as a matter of fact. But what we'll do is, well, I don't know, we might not do it, but some people will do an electric fan swap where they take out the mechanical fan and just put dual electric fans, but I'm not really sure what they do about the air conditioning at that point. I think it's just temperature based on the coolant side of things. Alright, we're just about there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a little dielectric grease on this. Keep the moisture out of it, hopefully. I'm glad I caught that now before something bad happened. So we'll just put this back together like so. Okay, snap our harness back in on the spots we still can. Now to put the intake back on. It's getting dark out here, boys. Go ahead. I'm trying to be gentle with this because this boot was ripped whenever I actually did the timing job on it, and the way I did that for the repair for the time being was use silicone and just patch the hole. So we got our crankcase ventilation hose back on our throttle body and on our air box over there. We'll just tighten it back down. Tighten this back down. Then put our clamp on our crankcase ventilation. Whoever owned this truck before me and was working on it, they didn't tighten. This wasn't even on behind the mass airflow sensor. The hose wasn't even on. It was just kind of sitting there. It was weird. So this just has a little pinch clamp on it, like the easy. Just run that down, put that on, like so. Make sure it's happy. Then you gotta put the two mount bolts back. So locate that. Cold air intakes, like this serves as a muffler. If you guys ever see intakes on vehicles with giant plastic bulbous things sticking off of them, what those actually are is a muffler for the intake. What it does is, air swirls around in here and it just muffles the intake. Like cold air intake kits for this is just a straight tube over here. I know it sounds weird, but look at any modern-ish vehicle and the intake will usually have some sort of bulbous looking bubble hanging off of it. And you're like, what the heck could that even do? Is it just for looks or something like that? No, not really. It's usually a muffler. Put our top cover back on. And done. Look at that. Done. The whole job took what? Actual work, probably 20, 25 minutes maybe. But yeah, you guys can do this too. So what this will do is hopefully drop our coolant temperatures. I'll take it to work tomorrow and we're going to see if there's any difference in it and I'll report back.